Hello everybody! We are back with a bit of Sewing Bee chat. We've had a busy week this week and we literally just caught up on the Sewing Bee.
Yeah.
Whilst doing some work in the office. Win-win. It's still work, it's a Sewing Bee.
Yeah.
We work in sewing, it's all good.
It was nice to watch it together actually.
It was.
To watch it with someone because I'm usually just at home doing my sewing on my own.
Get sort of live. We were saying maybe we should have filmed this and done a Gogglebox episode instead, but that would make for a lot longer vlog and probably just periods of silence where we forgot that we were filming.
Yeah. They must edit Gogglebox a lot, mustn't they?
They must do, because otherwise I'm just not that vocal watching telly, I don't think.
Yeah. Do you think you have to keep reminding yourself to talk? Are
Yeah.
you a talker when you watch the telly? Usually?
No, I'm more like, be quiet, I want to listen to this. Anyway, so this week was West African Week and it was really good. Obviously there was a lot of things that I hadn't heard about and I felt like I learned a lot of new garments and about a lot of new fabrics. So they had a batakari in the what's it called? I can't remember what the first
sewing challenge.
Challenge.
No, they're all sewing challenges. No, helpful comment. Sorry, it was pattern challenge.
Pattern challenge.
There we go.
Which was a totally different way of using the pattern, essentially, wasn't it? So they
Yeah.
had the long strips of fabric, right?
Yeah, the fabric, and then they were putting it together, and then they had to cut out the neckline on that versus. I mean, necklines are hard enough generally.
That's it.
And didn't they have like 20 seconds to do it as well?
That, I think because quite a lot of them were pulled up on that, weren't they, in the comments? But I wouldn't have a clue because it's not going to be perfectly central because you've got different shapes front and back, so I think
and it was interesting to see different people's way of sewing because obviously as home sewers you have your own way of working, and you can see people that were like measuring it all out and trying to be exact versus other people going, I'm just going to do that by eye. Which one do you reckon you would be? Are you a measurer? Are you like a...
If it's for myself I'd do it by eye.
Yeah.
If it was for someone else I'd be there with my measuring gauge and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I think for the Sewing Bee I'd want to measure.
Yeah, but it must be stressful, mustn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Because you'd be like, eyeing. Because also if you measure it and then realise it's wrong, it's like, but I don't have time to fix it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes, you'd have to just
go with it knowing that your neckline was wrong the whole time.
Oh, but I don't think they looked. I thought all of them looked pretty good, to be honest. I know there are lots of them. I thought they were quite harsh with the judgments this week, but I thought a lot of them were sort of saying it was off balance and things, but I thought they all looked really good.
Pretty good. I think I've made worse things.
Yeah, but there was a lot going on for that item, wasn't it? I thought it was really hard. So the fabric, and I think just working with the fabric looked quite hard having to put it together that way. Yeah. The neckline, and then the go days. Yeah. Have you done a go day before? I have done.
I sewed some samples of a Haxby skirt. I haven't made one for myself yet. Sorry. But the Haxby skirt is like fitted at the top, and then you use that go day to get loads of volume instantly.
And it looks really good. Doesn't it?
I've never actually tried it. But I thought it was tricky because most of those fabrics I think were striped, and then that really shows on a go day if something's not quite right, if you've not sewn it at the perfect seam allowance or something like that. So it's fiddly. And in quite a
lot of pieces,
quite a thick
isn't it?
fabric. Yeah. So I think fair play.
Yeah, because usually I know go days has been within skirts and usually with much lighter fabric.
Yes, to get that kind of swish.
And you want it sort of coming out big, but this was more of a structural.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
The thing is, I had seen, because I wasn't aware of what their garment was called, but I had seen people wear it, and I didn't even realise it had the go day in it.
No. It's amazing when I mean, that's what I like about sewing is all the construction and how things are made, and all these sort of pieces come together and you're like, of course. How else would you get that in there? Yeah. Like, that's why it looks like it. But I thought, on the whole, they did really well.
I mean, the fact that they were like able to finish. Like,
I know.
It wasn't just holes everywhere.
It's always the time that gets me. It's absolutely mad. Then they moved on to draping. Which is really different, wasn't it? Really, totally different type of fabric. Because we were talking when we were watching it, how much we'd quite like to do draping. I would love to do a bit of draping.
Yeah, and when you think of I think when people say that you make your own clothes, that's probably what people imagine us to be doing.
Yes, just like with a mannequin, dramatically draping fabric. But then I was talking to Julie actually about our pattern that's coming out next month.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think it for looking at it, but she draped that on the mannequin. That's how she started off that pattern. So it's all about like the fabric leading, and it doesn't, I think draping doesn't always have to be those big dramatic shapes. Sometimes it is just about getting something that sits exactly how you see it in your mind.
And that's the thing, it does make sense, because essentially sewing is making a flat thing fit a curved body.
Yeah.
So that should be, it seems a natural way of how you create the dress, or how you create it.
Yeah, and I felt so much of this week was, more so than other weeks, was about the fabric. And there was a lot about the heritage of fabric and stories, and people bringing in such lovely memories into what they were making, but a lot of it was sort of put fabric first rather than like, obviously we make patterns, and so often I'm like looking at what it looks like on a piece of paper first, and actually it's quite nice to just tip it on its head and be like, no, fabric first. It's more important. That's what you're going to be showing off all the time.
Yeah, that's true actually. Do you find that in your actual sewing at home, do you pick your fabric first and then like, I'm gonna make something out of this, or do you find your pattern and then choose your fabric?
I think that's a good question. I think I'll see a pattern, but what will make me want to sew it will be thinking of it in a certain fabric. So I don't have like a big stash at home. I try to keep on top of what I've got, so it's not like I'm there going, oh, that lemons will become something. It's more like I'll see a pattern first, and that will spark my imagination. But what gets me excited is it coming together with the fabric and seeing what it's going to be. Yeah. Like my favourite part of sewing is when you've just cut out and you see the shape and you're like, yeah, this is going to be great.
You start thinking like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But then, I think we'll talk about this with Alba Jemima bits. Yeah, when I don't know if anyone else does this, but when you start sewing it together and then you try it on before it really should be tried on, and you're just like, oh no, this is not working. You know, hold on, it's because it's not really an item of clothing.
Exactly. Yeah, I have a rule that I try things on to fit, but I try not to be too critical, especially if it's like a Sunday, I've not got any makeup on, I've not done my hair, all that sort of jazz, because I'll just look in the mirror and go, but then I'll try it on a Wednesday when I've got ready for work and I'm all like fancy, and go, oh yeah, no, it's actually all right, it's really great.
That's such an emotional thing, isn't it? And I think and that's why they really focused on the fabrics and the stories.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
I think obviously like there's so many patterns in the world, and you get caught up in like making loads, basically being like, oh, that one's new and that one's new and I want to make that and I want to make that, and then with all of these garments that they made this week, there was just so many stories. And I love the idea of people going to weddings and entire families wearing the same outfit, being like they are one unit, but completely different styles.
Fabric, but and using that. Well, I suppose it's kind of, there is like that tradition now with bridesmaids dresses. I've seen a lot more.
Yeah, that's true.
That people might have chosen the fabric, but then be making a different pattern.
That's very true. Yeah. So you still have your own individuality, but you're all sort of connected as one.
Yeah,
I really like.
Like Spice Girls.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
More girls
like
than that.
Because you made a matching dress for your daughter recently.
I did.
Do you think you could get your partner and sew in something?
Do you know what? Actually, when it came to the so I'd made the dresses for when I was going to go out to celebrate with my friends, and me and my daughter put them on, and my son was like, "Have I got one?" And I was like, "Oh, no." But I mean, he's 6, and he like, it's really hard to get him in anything that's not a football kit at the moment. And I have made him clothes before, and he doesn't wear them, so I sort of shelved it as thinking like, oh, he doesn't want them, but actually I think
that's lovely.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. You do matching as well, because you've
made
your partner, haven't you?
Yeah, very closely. So I made a dress, and then I made him a shirt, not in the same fabric, but then...
Would he not have worn it then, do you think?
I think he would have loved it. I don't know whether I would have loved it. So I'm just like, oh yeah, no, that won't work for that, love, no, sorry. But I did put, like the inside of the cuffs and the under of the collar was the same fabric, so there was like a hint.
Yeah.
But we don't look...
Matchy.
Yeah.
You don't want to be matchy. I love doing stuff like that though, when it's all like another pattern inside, and little flashes, or in the pockets a different fabric.
And that sort of links in, I guess, to like the stories and having that sort of connection with a garment and having something secret that only you know about is quite nice.
Yeah.
It's sort of a lighter way of doing it. But yes, sewing bee.
Yeah, sorry, back to sewing bee. We got on a tangent there.
And then their made to measures were just like fabulous.
I mean, I want a booby now.
I know. It's like it's not super warm outside, but our office is pretty warm already. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, we'd be so glamorous.
Yeah, and I said this before, I am a bit clumsy. I probably would fall over. It's like I find it with wide leg trousers as well.
Just get all caught up in all fabric.
Yeah. But who made a midi one? I thought that was a good idea. To kind of modernise it a little bit.
I can't remember which one that was.
And also, it was it Maria? Who made the off-the-shoulder one. I really liked that.
Yes.
And I thought that shape, I saw that shape was in about a couple of summers ago, where people would have like because I think someone might have done it on Sewing Bee, where it was like a fitted bodice underneath, but like the fabric went over the top.
That's
so
cool.
It looks like this sort of big, sort of flowy, like bubble dress.
Yeah, but you still feel quite sort of looked after underneath.
Yeah, you're inside all tucked in. So for a formal occasion, that's really nice. Isn't it?
It was gorgeous. I thought that fabric. Was it Mia? Is there Mia and Maria?
Oh, Maria was the purple one. She was the one that went home.
That was it.
And Mia, that was Mia's one that I liked.
Yeah, with
Mia's
the sort of gold.
That fabric was amazing.
Yeah, I was totally down for that. I also want to. Obviously, I really like Lizzie's, who won.
Yeah.
Was gorgeous, but I think the one that made me go, oh wow, was the one that was a solid. Was it fauve? Is that her name? The solid red. Yeah. For some reason, I was just like, boom. And it was like there was nowhere to hide in it because it was all just one colour and the seams were perfect. And I liked that it was sort of quite high necked as well, really covered. Yeah. It was gorgeous, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, who knew that, that much, so much ruby fabric could look so glamorous?
That's it. I think that's it, I think that's the nail on the head.
Because, I often associate those kind of silhouettes as like something you throw on over if you're going just down the beach or something. But that was stunning. Absolutely stunning.
So glam. So you'll see us next episode, all in boo-boos.
Yes, please. Could we do boo-boo pattern?
We'll see what's on the card. But then it looked like next week there was going to be some zero waste patterns, which is really cool.
Exciting, and some crochet.
Yeah, quite confused about what's going to happen there.
Do you think that's they've been given some crochet to do? Oh, because remember they did do a jumper one, didn't they? They had to make it into dresses.
Oh, like a transformation one.
So maybe they had to use crochet.
That would make sense. I am so useless at crochet and knitting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought you were quite good at knitting. No.
I can do it, but
it's not
my thing. I feel very much in my head there's a strong divide between knitting and sewing. So to see that crossover, I was like,
no,
mind blown.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
No, I was quite excited. I really like knitting and crochet.
Yeah. Be interesting to see it in a different format. Yeah, I guess.
And I love like weird mashups of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think next week will be really exciting. Like zero waste, reusing things. Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. Yeah,
no, it should be good.
So who do you think is the strongest at the moment?
Okay, my favourites.
Yeah.
Are after this week, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Not before, but
dark horse.
Being straight in.
Yeah.
I think it's Tony W, the one that's not a postman, is very clever about what he chooses.
It's almost like he can be quite safe, and then suddenly he'll just do something, and he's like top.
Yeah.
Because he's made the right choices.
That's it. I mean, I think maybe he's not like, woo, bells and whistles, wham, but everything he does things sort of quietly very well.
Yeah.
And who else was I thinking? Oh, Asma.
Oh, yeah.
Just incredibly competent.
Yeah, I think Asma's my favourite at the moment.
What, played to win?
Yeah. Because I think she's just consistent. You can tell she's just an amazing sewer. I think...
Right.
Yeah, because she has really hard fabrics and really difficult things.
She did a lot. I know they were a little bit sort of they criticised her a bit, but I mean, she did so much.
It was a whole outfit, and they only had 4 hours. That was just, I mean, yeah, it took me, like, I made the headscarf for here in 40 minutes, and I was like, that was so fast. And I'm like, hold on a minute. I had to make a whole gown in 4 hours. I thought 40 minutes was pretty good, which it is.
It is.
I think it's doing a disservice to the industry, to the sewing industry, that they're making them do it in such a short amount of time.
I think, like, we know in the sewing industry, but I think it's to maybe like our partners and our friends who'll just be like, oh, Chloe, can you make me a whole outfit? Yeah, just half a day, just an afternoon, you'll do that, right? Absolutely not. So, as always, I think we bow down to them having anything finished.
I think that just shows the talent that they've got of the people that are on the show, really.
It does, yeah.
They've managed to pull together that many people that can actually create such amazing things in the time.
Well, I'm looking forward to next week. We also had, we're a bit, as I said, we've had a busy week. We've had a photo shoot, we've had a lot going on, so we're a bit all over the place this week. And we have Alma with some sewing bee thoughts as well, but coming from home. So we will say goodbye for now.
Yeah.
And we'll send you over to Alma.
Bye.
So West Africa week on the Sewing Bee was amazing. I really loved it. I'm loving this series of the Sewing Bee. I've got Esma here keeping me company in my sewing space, if you can see her. I really loved the challenges. It was garments I'd never really seen before, but I thought the first challenge, the pattern challenge, was really cool. I found it really interesting how they inserted the neckline after sewing the main bit of the top. I really liked the pockets. They were almost like welt pockets in a way, but really interesting. I wouldn't mind giving that a go. And the transformation challenge was so fun. I don't have much experience with draping, and I think it just looks magical when people do it. And I absolutely loved Lizzie's spotty, really dramatic dress. Like, it was sort of asymmetrical with spots all over it. Beautiful. That was, I think it was my actual favourite of the whole week, that garment. I would wear that in a heartbeat. Although I really loved Maria's final made to measure garment as well, because it was purple, of course. And I know they were a little bit tough on her about details and whatnot, but I thought it looked amazing. Boo Boo was the name of the garment that they were meant to do, which was sort of an occasion wear kaftan, which is not something I've ever considered making, but after seeing the versions that they made, I'm like, maybe I need a Boo Boo in my life. I really liked that, because when I think kaftan, I think something very loose fitting, and it's not something that I like to wear. I like to be nipped in at the waist, and lots of the versions that the sewists made did have an accentuated waist in one way or another, so I think I could get on board with that for sure. And I just basically really loved the fabrics in the first two challenges, especially. I think they look incredible. And I wanted to talk a bit about Ankara fabric and African wax fabric, which is something that, at least here in London, you can find quite easily. And I'm always attracted to those fabrics. And I thought it'd be worth talking a little bit about what you can do with them, because it might be a kind of fabric that, because you're not familiar with it, you might not know what patterns to use with it. I'm going to show you something I've made, which is a pair of pajamas that I love wearing in spring and summer. So this is the top, which is our Frida blouse with the yoke at the front and the back. Really fun, pure sunshine Ankara fabric. And the trousers, for the trousers I used the Ultimate Pyjamas pattern, because what else? So fun. Got the stripes kind of running down the legs, which looks really fun, and a little bit of ribbon there to finish it. So these two patterns can work with Ankara fabric. Something else I've been thinking about is probably a Betty dress would work amazingly. Maisie dress, which Lena, who's one of our models, she made a Maisie dress in Ankara fabric, and it looks stunning. So any pattern that can deal with a bit of structure in the in the fabric will work. I actually got this piece of course, purple Ankara fabric at the Stitch Festival, which is so much fun. And I've been umming and ahhing about what to make because I don't have lots of it. But I think I could either make a ultimate pencil skirt. That would look very fun and it would keep the pattern very uninterrupted. I could also try and make an Erin skirt from our City Break ebook with maybe white buttons going down the front. But also maybe I've got just enough, if I'm very careful and I use a different fabric for the facings, for example, and maybe shorten it a little bit, I think I could possibly get an Una dress out of it, which would look incredible, I think. One of our customers recently published, I think it was on Facebook, an Una dress made in Ankara fabric that just looked so good. So that gave me the idea and I might copy that. I'll see, I'll have to do some pattern Tetris, some fabric Tetris. But yeah, beautiful prints that you can find in this kind of fabric. And the structure is really nice. It's not stiff, it just has some weight. So you can't make, say, a floaty Eve dress in it, but there is so much that you could use it for. So we'd love to see you experimenting a little bit. But yeah, I just loved the episode. I was truly inspired by the fabrics, and it's very nice to get a show like the Sewing Bee sort of give you a look into a culture that maybe you're not so familiar with. I definitely wasn't. So it was really nice to have the guest judge as well, to talk about like the significance of things. I loved it when she talked about what the decorations on the fabric might be about. So they might be linked to the crops or something like that. I just love that. It gives fabric and then the garments that you make with them, it gives them a different weight, a different significance, which I really loved. So there you go.